It is 6:30. We will call the meeting to order, and Mr. Diddens has offered to give us the prayer this evening.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to do the county's work. Please give us guidance and courage to make the right decisions for the citizens of our county. And Father, we would ask you that you just, we thank you for all the blessings that over the years each of us have received. And thank you, Lord, for loving us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Are there any other additions?
Love to approve.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carried. We'll have approval of the meeting minutes from July 7th. Motion.
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries as well. We have claims here, we can pass that on to be signed. We have total claims this evening of $135.61.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, and is there a second? It's a one. Any discussion on that? Mostly all electricity and to the landing. All those in favor of paying the claims then?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries as well. With that, we're on to item 6.0. We have public comment. Here, coming up. You can either sit or stand here, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm totally unprepared for this. My name is Kevin Soka. I live on Fairview Road, just east of Linden Chelsea Street, north side of that. And there's a rock quarry that Ken Shealy used to own that he's recently sold. Used to be used for gravel. Beth's fully aware of my concerns with what's going on there. And I've totally tried to understand zoning rules and regulations in Stephenson County. I've been over them for hours and hours and hours trying to determine whether there's a difference between a gravel quarry and a cement recycling and an asphalt recycling plant. And it seems like they're kind of like commingled. I can't really tell that there's a distinct difference. I'm concerned because there's been a lot of traffic in that going in and out of that quarry, and they're dumping asphalt. I can determine from state regulations that asphalt has to have some kind of EPA evaluation to site where they're dumping it. I'm not a lawyer. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what I'm reading, but asphalt to me seems to be like a toxic waste. And if he's dumping it into a rock quarry where there's a natural spring, it seems to me that it could be dangerous, not only to the surrounding area, but to that spring and possibly the groundwater. I'm also concerned about the noise and the dust that's been coming from there. When I bought that property, which has been since 1995, it was a gravel pit. I accepted that it was a gravel pit. There was going to be noise and some dust from that. But if there's concrete recycling there, then that dust that comes from there could be toxic. There's chemicals that are in concrete that if I'm inhaling them, it could be bad for my health in the long term. And I really don't want to risk that. And the noise and the traffic, I don't even know if it's, I know we don't have noise ordinances in Stephenson County, but the way that that place is shaped, it's kind of like an amphitheater, and the rock wall just directs the noise right at my house. And there was such severe dust when he was crushing, when the current owner was crushing gravel, but my whole house was covered. I had to close up my windows. I have horses that I had to bring inside because the dust was so bad. And I'm just concerned about what's going on right now in that particular area. I'm trying to be patient. So my concern is I don't know what's going on. And I bought the property because it was quiet and remote and a nice place to live. And every time I turn around, it kind of changes. That's life. Life changes. But I don't want to have to wear a face mask in order to enjoy the outdoors because somebody's crushing gravel or crushing cement next door to me. I understand that's what the owner is planning on doing. Premature, if he's not doing it yet, maybe it's not an issue. I honestly don't know. But, and I'm sure that Beth has informed some of you, if not all of you, of some of the concerns of the neighbors in that area. And I just wanted to kind of be an additional voice so that you guys know that there are more than one person or two people that are concerned about this, that other people who live in the area are concerned as well. And I don't know if it's needs a flag raised or if maybe investigation into proper permitting or if there's been an EPA evaluation or if it's even required. I honestly don't know, but it's because of my lack of knowledge that I wanted to come and kind of like maybe talk to one of you privately. But I got the whole board, so this kind of works. Anyway, I just wanted to express that concern.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
And all of Phil's concerns are also my concerns. He's on the west side of the quarry, I'm on the east side. In addition to his concerns today, and I don't know why, I don't know if the semis that are hauling rock into the quarry were using jake brakes or some sort of engine braking, but extremely loud, and I assume y'all know what a jake brake is, but it boom, 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 boom. You know, it wasn't all day, but there was at least 4 of them doing it. So in addition to all the other noises, and Mr. Zach Jeffries, his equipment blows nasty, nasty black smoke. The diesel fumes when he's using his equipment, the noise, he has no mufflers, no exhaust, catalytic converters, none of that. And like Kevin said, it's like it echoes throughout. I mean, I can be a mile away in the field and still hear it. So that's a major concern. And he also mentioned contamination. We all have wells there. And with the underground spring, they are dumping the rock in the area. I can't say for sure on the spring, but in the area of the spring, I don't know if it's being put on the wet spot. I don't know. The EPA, Beth is working on getting the EPA inspection done. Are we gonna be privy to those results? So we have some idea of what's going on. Does the quarry need to be rezoned from ag to heavy industrial? Is there going to be a ZBA meeting that you guys set up somehow through zoning or this board? Or do we, the citizens, have to request a hearing to be heard? And that go over all these rules that Kevin and I aren't understanding on the computers? And going down my lane, I don't want to watch men go into the bathroom. Come on. Zach should provide a bathroom that is in. Did you see that in the ordinance, Kevin? Yeah, he has to have a bathroom there. You know, so that's part of my concerns, but the ZBA is a definite, if we could find out if we need to request it, this board or Beth through zoning. And then also, unfortunately, we still have the solar issue next to me. I talked to Beth Wednesday and Scott Friday, and I don't know how this conclusion arrived, but I'm told that all those solar panel stacks and the school wire and the cargo trailer can all stay there. But if you read your ordinance that you all signed, it's a violation. There's multiple violations. 610 tonight, the signage still is not corrected. That's a violation. The weeds, they worked on it a short time today. They're still there.
Did you try again?
That's fine. I don't know how to work mine
Yeah,
either.
no, it just,
But that's
was the
also,
timer.
sorry, can I finish?
let you finish. Yes.
Thank you. That's also a violation. And in July, you said they had 10 days and they would be fined. Well, it's been more than 10 days. Have they been fined? How much? Is it like 10,000 initially and then 1,000 every day thereafter? Because they've been playing this game for 2 years. Back in January, I was assigned to talk to the person that Beth just now got assigned to talk to. And as of Wednesday, that person hadn't returned her messages. The person she was talking to, Chris De Podesta, he was the third one I got assigned to. So what they're doing is as soon as they can, they get 30, 60, 90 days. When that time's up, they take that person off that particular site, put a different one there, so you start all over again. It's very frustrating, and my phone still does not work with their phone number, so that's also a violation of your ordinance. They're supposed to have 24/7 complaint hotline, complaint man hotline, 24/7. There are so many ordinances that they're in violation of. And it's been 2 years since the first one of these meetings with what is this called? P and D?
Planning and development.
Yes, I believe this is my fourth or fifth. The first one was over 2 years ago and nothing has changed. I've said the same stuff for 2 years. I mean, you can pull it up. And the junipers, the toxic junipers, a year before they were planted, we were requesting not toxic junipers. A year later, they still planted them, and now a year later, they're still there. So the solar farm is playing games for 2 years and they've been getting away with it.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off there.
Thank you. And if any of you guys want to come look, you're more than welcome to follow me up my lane like Beth Gilmore did. She got rid of the stack that was marked broken solar panels. But who knows if the stacks that are still there still have
Okay.
broken ones. Thank you.
Other public comment?
Sorry.
Hearing none, then we'll report to the committee and I was thinking about starting at the bottom, but we always do it the same, so.
Whatever you'd like.
It's your turn, Andrea, thank you.
All right, thank you. Good evening. I don't have full comprehensive labor analytics to share with you all this evening. I'm still waiting for July's unemployment number for Stephenson County and Freeport. However, I can share with you that I did get the press release from IDES around the unique job postings. So starting in April through July, we have seen a steady increase in the number of unique job postings. For reference, last month in June was a little over 1,000. This month, we're a little over 1,300. So a significant increase. In June, there was 276 employers who were advertising for work. There is 315 yet in July. And we've also coupled with that, as we see the labor market get more competitive, we've seen an increase in the median salary increase from $31.20 per hour to $32.43 an hour, which equates to about $67,000 per year in annual salary. Again, that's the median salary from those job postings. Consistency within the top companies and top occupations: Highland, Freeport School District, FHN, Pro Pavilion, Honeywell, and Walmart. And as you can imagine, the correlation in top occupations are arranged in healthcare, registered nurses, radiological techs, production workers, physical therapists, home health, maintenance, and repair workers. So We continue to push out communication about the availability of jobs here, well-paying jobs. We continue to work a number of ongoing economic development projects. We are working with a local automotive dealership who is currently in discussions with the city around a redevelopment agreement. And they're looking to expand that would add positions. We continue to go back and forth between a small data center that's looking to utilize an existing building. They're having ongoing discussions between themselves and ComEd. As you can imagine, that is a long process. And we continue to have productive conversations with a large property owner in the downtown on potential redevelopment schemes for one of their existing buildings. And kind of new to development in this past month, we have been working with a site selector who has been working with a utility company. They're looking to put a building with kind of some working bays, some offices and a utility yard, and helping them find some suitable sites in the Freeport area. They're in the process of doing some due diligence activities. Earlier this year, we were awarded the T-Mobile grant of $50,000 to help develop a pocket park in a vacant parcel in downtown. In the last week, due to the hard, diligent work of Nicole Haas in our office, we were able to broker a deal with the adjacent property owner in the city of Freeport for conveyance of that property over to the city, which will allow a more comprehensive design to that pocket park. It will also allow the city to go after an OSLAD grant, which is, please don't ask me, open space, land and recreation. I'm butchering the title of that, but it would allow the city to go after that grant to help facilitate the build out of that pocket park and create an active space in downtown. So we're pleased with that movement. Quad City Regional Economic Development Authority came and gave a presentation to a full house at the partnership last month. The executive director, Warren Ribley, leads that regional development authority, and he talked a lot about what they can do to help both public and private entities in their building projects or development projects. And the main thing that they can do is offer double tax exempt bonds. So there was a number of manufacturers who were in the room diligently taking notes. One of those manufacturers, we will be looking at doing an enterprise zone boundary expansion to expand the area currently that's around their facility. They are currently in the enterprise zone, but they have purchased adjacent land that is not. We were also able to finish up Vencia's application, sent that down to the state mid-July. We have received a few questions, so that's a good sign. We were able to answer those very succinctly, but that also means that they're also reviewing it. So they have up to 90 days. So things are moving along. I suspect this is August, September or October will be an ask from Chairman Helms for an enterprise zone boundary expansion for AutoSmart. They will probably be next up. In other positive news, and I can follow up and send these dates and times. Illinois Manufacturing, every October is Manufacturing Month. They do a Makers on the Move bus tour, and they take a bus full of their execs all around the state of Illinois, and they stop at certain cities and visit different manufacturers. I have been working trying to get this bus to stop at Freeport for the past couple of years. They will be stopping here. They will be parked at Snack King, which is a great location, being the fact that there's a number of other manufacturers in very close proximity on October 9th, kind of over the lunch hour. So more information will be to come, but there will be press release and there will be all the movers and shakers that are there. So we're excited to have them come. Snack King has also donated to be their salty snack sponsor. So a great opportunity to recognize an industry that's been a mainstay in Stephenson County for a long time. So that's the nuts and bolts of it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't have a question, but I have a request.
Okay,
A month or two ago, you sent us a bunch of links that would take us to those job listings or some of those job listings. Could you send that to me again, please?
I absolutely am.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? Thank you very much, Amy. It's always interesting. Onto zoning. Is this it?
Yes, the deposit for the month of May, I'm sorry. Not going back that far. July was $9,446.60. Total to the general fund is $49,246.70. Nicole and I attended a meeting held by Soltage WSP to discuss the upcoming construction of a battery energy storage site and a solar facility at Dembowski on West Nor Road at Baker Road. In attendance were representatives from the Lena, Winslow, Orangeville, and Warren Fire Departments, as well as our EMA Director, Scott Townsend. This, if you remember, was permitted back in 2018. They came back in for a battery energy storage a couple of years back, and it's finally coming to fruition. The fire departments were grateful that they held this meeting. They have contact numbers for everyone, so if they have any questions during construction, they'll reach out. Nicole and I met with Mr. Sokup. As he stated earlier, he had questions regarding the quarry on Fairview Road, which had been gradually increasing activity. I will address that in a minute. I have reached out to the IEPA as well as the IDNR to be sure all proper permits have been obtained at the operator's end, and I have heard back from both. IDNR does not need any extra permits. They have the right now to blast and to mine at that facility. I had spoke with a gentleman at IEPA, sent him pictures that were given to me by Mr. Sokup as well. They are starting a file on that and we'll do an investigation because through the IEPA, they must have a permit. Countywide, we don't because they are permitted as a quarry. Grinding, crushing, asphalt, and concrete are in the special use, table of special uses that say they're good the way they are. They're following all of our rules. So the EPA will also look into the noise and the regulations on the machinery and the dust as well. So I told both of the adjacent landowners that have concerns that once I hear back from the IEPA, they will be notified as well. Mr. Jeffrey did come into my office last week with the owner of the facility with the old quarry owner asking, because I had told them cease and desist until I get my ducks in a row, make sure you're okay. They held out for like an afternoon and then they started back because everything they have, I can't stop them from what they're doing. I did take a little trip out there with the EMA director on the side-by-side, and they have piles, and it is piled away from what we could tell, away from the spring, the wet part of the quarry. So there's that. Also, 2 new violation letters have been mailed out. 1 final demand letter has been mailed out. We currently have 15 outstanding violations. These violations range from inoperable vehicles and tall grass and weeds to no permits and unauthorized development in the floodplain. We have seen so much of that this year. Found out there's another 2 dwellings that are being sold on the floodplain, and that's going to be a big thorn in our side coming up. All outstanding violations are regularly reviewed and tracked each week. We'll go out, either Nicole or I, to see if there's any progress. Most of them have been taking care of everything. When we ask, we send the first letter and they go out and mow. I send the final demand letter and then they take care of everything, because from the trees that are growing up with little feeders off of them, they realize that they've got to have it. Now, some people aren't living in these homes, but they're in a residentially zoned district, so they've got to have them tidy. We're not that picky. As long as they're a lot better than they were, we're good. And the neighbors all appreciate that. We did not receive any bids for the building inspector. Not one. I reached out to a couple and it shocked me that the couple I did reach out to do inspections for homeowners that are purchasing property, but they're not licensed. They don't know the code. So that kind of shocked me. Yes, so I do have one potential. He is the inspector for the village of Winnebago and does several townships in Winnebago County. I got his number from Chad with the IBEW, so I will be calling him this week or next to get on board, hopefully. And now I will address the solar site. This is where I have to eat crow. This was permitted in 2018. That site has to follow the 2018 code. It doesn't follow the 2023 code where we have the regulations for the signs, where we have the regulations for the weeds, all of that. It follows the 2018 code. We don't have in that code regulations for signs, regulations for weeds. So I emailed the company, told them you have 10 days to take care of this. That was on the 28th of July. And if they didn't take care of it by the 8th of August, they would receive a $150 fine a day. On August 7th, I told them again, they would be assessed fines because they were not installed yet. They said they were working on the signs. Then I had to apologize because I read the wrong code. They were understanding. I told them we do want a sign though. And they're fine with that. They are working on making a sign anyways. So, and they're supposed to have the vegetation on the property done by August 14th. And with the stacks of solar panels, the wire on the facility and the shipping container, there's nothing we can do about that because it's not harming anything. That would be if I told Miss Baker, I don't like your wood pile there, please move your wood. We can't, if it's not something that's, I don't know what term I'd like to use. But we can't just say, you can't have that spool of wire there. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm doing my job to the extent I'm supposed to do my job. I want to be transparent and I've answered all questions that's been asked of me. And do you have any questions?
Junipers, please.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
There's nothing we can do about the junipers. They've been planted. All trees have pollen. Supposedly these trees are the female version of the trees. And only time that they're toxic is if your children, your livestock are eating the seeds or berries or bark off the trees. And if there's livestock eating the seeds, berries or bark off the trees, then they're far off their property.
Untrue. Please look it up. They're the third most toxic tree.
Okay, I can't have you commenting here at this point, Darren, thank you.
I Googled the juniper thing and it said could be mildly toxic and if they're on their property, right?
Correct. They're
I mean,
on their
that's-
leased property.
Yeah, so I don't know. And the animals, if it's the squirrel, you know, but you don't want a squirrel.
Right.
But if you have cattle or a horse and they're over there eating something on the property they don't own, no. That's not the owner of the property,
Right.
in my mind, but that's just what I
I
thought.
reached out to the company. They were going to look into it. I have not heard back. I have not heard back. Chris Podestro is with another company now. That's the issue we see. They move from company to company. But everything at this site is up and up right now. I'm checking on the weeds. We drove through the site on the side by side. I talked to Beth Gilmore thinking that there were noxious weeds there. She sent me a picture of what's it called? Canadian thistle looks like. And she said when she first started her job that she thought these other plumas, I believe they're called. Is that the fake one?
It's a similar one.
Right. She said those aren't the noxious Canadian thistles are. So I told her, okay, those aren't Canadian thistles on the site. She said just to keep an eye on it. And I told her I'd, let her know what I find as well. So. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Soil and water, right now, what they're doing is they're working on what Beth kind of talks about too, as far as projects that have been completed, making sure that farmers have kept their waterways and the width that they're supposed to be in, and making sure these projects have been completed. So that's what's going on there. Recreation and trails, Item 7.4, Dale, I don't know if you had any comment you wanted to make there?
They had some preliminary numbers from the new cameras that they put out on the trail. But they're still trying to tweak those. They're supposed to be able to tell whether it's a human or a bicycle or an animal, to make the numbers a little more legitimate. And other than basic maintenance, and we have a gentleman that's going to talk about bike rentals a little bit later on in the meeting. Other than that, that was pretty good.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we have Black Hawk Hills here tonight and Dan Fayette's here with us. So you want to come on up here? Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to give a report on Black Hawk Hills' activities that are most pertinent to Stephenson County and recent. But first, a little bit of background, as I'll always do for these meetings. And my name is Dan Payette. I'm the executive director of Black Hawk Hills Regional Council, and we serve the 6 counties of Northwest Illinois, which is Stephenson County. And we'll get into some of the activities that we're involved in. First one I want to highlight is actually a region-wide, but it does pertain to Stephenson County as well, by virtue of being part of the region. We have a housing design competition. A few months ago, we received a grant from the AARP, so we are using funding from them to encourage architects, builders, engineers to submit housing designs to address particular issues in the area. There's a lot of issues with housing across the United States, and they're similar, so it's not necessarily unique to our area, but one of the areas that, because of our older population, that's been a concern is multi-generational living, being able to use a house that's going to be accessible to you for the longest period of time possible and have it be used by people that are older, people that are younger, people with young families, people that may be single, and trying to come up with designs that are modular, scalable, things that we can use to encourage further development in the area, and also address other issues like housing affordability and filling in parts of our communities that may have a house that need to be demolished, or there might be an empty lot, figuring out how to make that a viable place where somebody can live in the future. So we got some money to award some winners there. Our long-term intention with this program is to actually work with, assuming we like the design after the prize, to actually implement one of these designs in a community. We've asked those that are submitting designs to just pick a community in Northwest Illinois where they think it would be suitable. So we're not sure where some of these designs are going to be proposed. That's part of the competition. So we'll know more, but it actually kicked off today in terms of the application being opened up and people can submit their designs. It's open to anybody in the United States, with some preference given to those based in Northwest Illinois in terms of the prize winnings. But the entries are due by October 17th, and public voting, which is another part of this, will involve one of the prizes, and that opens up on October 24th. So we'll be monitoring and seeing what we get and what's coming in, but we're hoping to award up to 6 prizes, each at $5,000, so about $30,000 worth of award money going out. And then again, working with those organizations potentially, if we like what they bring, to implement a design in one of our communities. So that's on the housing front. Transportation, which is probably where we've been most broadly involved in Stephenson County. Trails were mentioned, so I guess I will say that, assuming that this committee may not have all the updates, we were able to deploy 3 trail counters on the 2 main trails within this region, Jane Addams Trail and Pecatonica Prairie Trail. And as noted, they're continually being tweaked, and we're just learning how to live with those counters and just understand how they perform. We're happy with them to date. One of the great features with them is that they do automatic data processing and transmission. So we do not have to go out to the field, download the data, and then finesse it in-house. We can get that directly sent to us, and some of that processing would have already been done. So it's a much more advanced system than the one we previously deployed. And it also helps for items where if there's low battery or if there's anomalous readings, we can see that right away, send somebody out and take a weed whacker and trim down some weeds or just figure out why something might be out of sorts. But we're excited to have that deployed. We'd like them enough to think that we may try to deploy different ones throughout the region on addition to trails. But the first bout has been partially funded by IDOT through a grant that we received from them to do development and work on trails planning. We're also working in a number of communities in the region, in Stephenson County specifically, for walkability assessments. And that's when we send somebody out with a level and a tape measure and take a look at sidewalks, take a look at paths that people trod throughout their residential areas, commercial districts, and try to give an assessment of what state of repair the sidewalk is in. That can be important for one, just having a good idea of what state your sidewalk infrastructure is in. And you also then, beyond having an inventory, have a kind of report that you can use for applying for future funding, whether that's for safe routes to schools or the Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program, which also provides money for sidewalks and that. So trying to give folks the tools, specifically in Dakota, Orangeville, and Rydot. I believe we'll also be working with Dakota on developing a safe routes to schools application, which is again the idea of being able to convey kids that may walk or bike to school safely from their homes to the school and back, and so on at all kinds of hours. So another point, we haven't started this one yet, but we will be developing trail sign plans for the region that local trail owners can use to develop a more extensive sign network that helps people use the trails better. We did this a few years ago. We're hoping to do this for the Jane Addams Trail this time around. Wouldn't necessarily mean buying the signs right now. We'd have to work with partners to do that, or the local entity would have to find the money. We're hoping to give them, based on our regional guidebook, a good plan that makes sense, has a hierarchy, allows people to follow it, and we'll be doing that over the next year. On the other realm, for more motorized transportation, we recently helped with the county and the other counties in the region finishing up the safety action plan that is for dealing with so-called vulnerable road users and those that are in cars and their safety as well. So looking at crash data and figuring out where there are pressure points and places where you have interactions that are not great for life and safety. So that's done, and the great thing with that is that now we're in a position to apply for infrastructure funding. So we did help Highway Department put in an application for the most recent round of Safe Streets and Roads for All funding for implementation. So looking at putting signage on some of the sites that were identified in the planning process. Another thing, the county was awarded a railroad crossing elimination program grant and tried to help with the grant writing for that, and that looks to be underway. We just recently finished up an RFP to help the county out with finding somebody, a firm that can do the work, and I assume that that is going to be going out. So presumably over the next year, year and a half, you'll be going through the process and getting updates from your own department heads about that process, but just looking at all of the railroad crossings in the county and figuring out what ways to address potential safety issues or no safety issues. Another item which is coming up again, we had helped with the Rural and Tribal Assistance Program, which funds planning studies for transportation related projects. That program was pulled, let's say 3 to 6 months ago. It's back on the docket, and so they have invited new applications or people to resubmit that had submitted previously. So hopefully the work that was done on that, along with the Highway Department, will be submitted and hopefully be in a good position to get some funding for that work. And then some other, I would suppose, miscellaneous notes. Recently worked with United Way of Northwest Illinois on some grant writing assistance. Also doing some work with Greater Freeport Partnership to help update some of the maps for enterprise zone and also identify funding sources for public infrastructure that would be in support of business expansion and retention. So just trying to align the known needs of businesses and public entities here with the known funding sources that are available and more importantly, likely to be available as opportunities come along. So those are some of the big areas we've been working at. The area that I want to close out with is to say that we have been working with counties, municipalities on walking them through what's called a capital improvement planning process. And we've given presentations to some of the administrators and chairs for our counties, as well as done some plans for counties and municipalities. The idea is that you're essentially looking at 5 years of funding for the entirety of the county and figuring out where's the money coming from, where will the money be spent, and how to sequence that out in a way that deals with the reality of scarcity of resources. So if you can get that in place, presumably you'll have an easier time setting priorities for the county. One of the things we were able to do when we went through the first process was develop a platform to help map out some of these improvements that would be made so that there is a public interface component. So when you're often maybe asked questions about when is an improvement to this roadway or something coming, finding ways to display that publicly and saying, hey, take a look at this nice little map shows you where this is happening. We're trying to work with the counties to actually use that. So there's part of a communications angle and just explaining what the county is doing. And then also just the benefits of, again, knowing you have limited resources and figuring out when funds are coming in and when to spend them. So hopefully we'll be working with counties in the region on that. Again, have been making approaches with them to, I guess, hawk our wares on. But we like the product that we put together and we want to do more because we have it now. And that was paid for by Department of Commerce for us to develop that. And we also think it's a pretty essential role that any government does with respect to, again, figuring out where you're going to spend your infrastructure money. So hoping that that would work out for Stephenson and other places, and looking forward to it when that makes sense in upcoming budget years. So happy to answer any questions, but that's a good chunk of what we're doing specifically to Stephenson County within our current portfolio.
Sweet. Questions? Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you, Dan.
No,
Thanks. Okay, moving on, Chairman's report. I just make one comment as we go on into item 7.7. As we were looking at the Kent Monument this past week and what's going on there and the potential to expand that. As I look at facilities maintenance, when I was there, if I'd have been the gentleman that's thinking about giving us some land, I'd have been saying, why do I want to do that? Because it was not very well taken care of. I mean, it wasn't a thing that I was real happy with to walk around and show there. The monument itself has weeds growing up in it, the building, the barn swallows are shows exactly where their nests are. It was rather disappointing. But I will say that while we were there, we had people from Michigan come through there to see the monument and to they were following part of the Lincoln Trail, and so it isn't that it's not a place that's being used when we don't know it. But there were some things there that I would like to make sure that facilities maintenance knows we need to be doing some things there too. So with that, item 7.7, you do have a report there. If you want to take a look at it, that the equipment is there and working. I don't know. Administrator wants to make a comment on that or not?
Wally did stop up Friday, and I was gonna say the second page of the attached report shows the equipment. He was able to get it all labeled per code, so it is marked that it's county. I know he, with the heat, was limited with some of the stuff he was doing, and there was a medical issue with his family, but I did bring up some concerns about that you and I had spoken about with the monument and stuff, so.
So that, thank you. We'll move on. I don't have anything here this evening from the transportation or the communication focus groups. So we'll go on to discussion, possible expansion at Kent Monument. Bill Hadley and I did meet with, Dave Thompson out there and walk through the property. I said earlier, it's 11 acres. We thought first it was 3. And he went and had that surveyed just to see what it was. And it's actually 11 acres and there's another potential, some to the south, but this is across the road from the monument. You come up there from, if you come in on the Kent Road or on the Monument Road there, it's on the opposite side from our actual property there right now. A rather unique property. What Mr. Thompson is looking for is if it was something that we are interested in doing. He's not asking for anything at this minute. He's just looking to give us the property, but we would have to have it surveyed and pay the closing costs and all that sort of thing. He's in the process of doing some things estate-wise for his family. And so he's needing from us at some point, this is just discussion this evening, but some feel for whether we're interested in doing this in the future or not at all. And so I'm just opening it up to comments from you, what you think.
Well, do you, just from your short visit there, what would we do with it? Do we have to work on maintenance? I mean, or we just have it?
It's a good question because that does concern me is if you want to utilize that piece of property, it's going to take some work to make it usable. I mean, it will need, if you're going to use it, you got to put some trails through there. You're going to have to do something. Otherwise it's just all woods.
Yeah.
Just don't know what you want to do.
Is it 100% wood?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, Mr.
Sounds
Chairman.
like,
Go ahead.
sounds like a maintenance nightmare to me. That's all I have.
Yes, what I would like is if there's consensus from the committee to explore it further, is to come up with a comprehensive plan for the entire park, including the 11 acres. So whether you look at, and I'm just throwing things out there, not recommending, but whether you turn that into additional parking or trails or what it may be, but just what does the Kent Monument look like going forward? The county is going to continue to own that piece of property, which I think we will. Wally loves that area out there and he's really put his heart into that. So for it to kind of slip back a little bit, I'm sure he will get that taken care of in no time. But does that sound reasonable, just to come up with a consensus? You want to explore it further, put a timetable on it, try to put together some sort of a comprehensive plan or a use plan. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if GFP could help with that and facilitate some of that.
Let's wait for that.
And I think that's where Mr. Thompson's at with it, that he would like to know whether it's something that we have the potential to do something with. And he understands what it is. He knows that it has to, something has to be done with it. You probably don't just want it to. Right. I said it has one path in and that same path out. We did walk through some of it. It's a beautiful piece of woods. Out there on top of that hill. It's kind of a cool piece of property. But I don't know how to give him direction.
Well, I think the committee, if they're interested in exploring this, if you are, then put a timetable on it so that you can convey that back to the owner.
But we probably can't do that tonight.
To get consensus.
Can you?
Sure. You're not voting on anything.
Yeah.
I have no interest myself. I think it's gonna end up being a maintenance issue and we have a hard enough time just taking care of what we have right now. Just my personal thought, but I haven't spent much time out there, so I don't feel like I've got much to go on either. So I can be honest about that.
Yeah, I would I think we should just leave it. I think we should maintain what we have. And do a better job, but obviously, as far as expansion goes, I would support that.
I wish I could have been there with the rest of you or Stephen Bill. Just my off the cuff reaction is that I don't know that we get very many opportunities like this. So before I just dismiss it, I think I would be in favor of looking at a full plan. And then at that point, I think we would know whether it fits longer range goals. So.
I'm with Brian. I like the idea of expanding it, but then I see the maintenance side of things, but I'm not gonna just let it go right now. So let me see what.
I would propose making a plan.
We work on.
If I were to express my opinion, I look at the Kent monument and I look at the Lincoln trail and all that goes on there, and just being there on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, here's somebody from Michigan that's out there taking pictures and got a map and got questions about Stephenson County. And if there's some more there that makes it more valuable down the road, that'd be great. I don't know what posterity is going to do, but there are some, again, if you have the opportunity to go out there, I'm sure Dave's not gonna shoot you. There's a house out there, and if you go across from their driveway, there's a very nice, easy path to go in and see the things we've talked about. So I would not be against having that property if we have some sort of a plan that we could put together. So I guess what I can do is just go back and tell Dave that's kind of where it's at. And we'll
So you find out kind of a timetable he's looking at,
he's looking at doing something this year.
is he?
Yes.
So
So
that
that,
I'm certainly drive out there and take a look that I can do.
Talk about further the full board too, if you'd like, get the entire board's input.
well, I'll bring that up with my report then, and we can kind of see what comments we get.
Right.
Okay, and that's what I'll let him know then too. No. Back to bed. Okay, on to new business. We have a zoning special use request change, so I'll bring it over to Beth.
Yes, Jeff and Rachel Spencer are requesting a special use to allow for a single family dwelling in the Ag District. They currently own the property. It's out on Pinhook Road, right behind the campground of Lake Leacuna. It is 7.04 acres. It's pretty much scrub ground, prairie grass, weeds growing up right now. There are surrounding A1 in the area, surrounding non-farm dwellings, a few. It will require a private septic and a private well. And their leases score was 171.43, which indicates a low rating for agricultural use. And like I said, it's not taking cropland out of production either, since it's pretty much scrub ground. There was one adjacent landowner that is an objection. He seems to think that the excess traffic will harm his livestock. So that's one of his main concerns, the excess traffic from the new dwelling there. The gentleman owns, I think, approximately 11 acres. And has a few cows.
So we need a motion to approve. Second, motion, second by Stephenson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of extending the special use permit signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move on to, or that motion carries, I'm sorry. We'll move on to 9.2, review of proposed 26 zoning. You have zoning budget in your packet.
Yes,
Beth and I talked about that. Do you have any comments?
I did not include the personnel request form. I didn't know if I was supposed to at this point in time. Do you want to see it real quick, or do you want it next month? I know we're early in the process.
I think we all need to see it
Okay.
anyway.
I'm asking for a 2% increase for Nicole, the assistant director, from the 4% to 6%. As you can see, it's on the budget notes. Excuse me, 6% would bring her to $45,845 for the year. 4% would be $44,987. It increases at $858 for the year. IMRF would be 27.07, and social security bid would be 65.64. My justification is Nicole has been with the county for 17 years. She's been with the zoning department for 2.5 years now. Each year our workload continues to increase with the redesignation of the violations to the zoning department. She continues to handle the extra workload as well as I do. And she can also perform nearly all the same duties as myself as the director, stepping in when needed, and she does keep things running smoothly as well. I don't have a hard time saying I need a couple days off, and I can trust that she will maintain the office the way it should be. And on my budget, I am keeping the code hearing unit at 3,000. Sorry, it's so hard to read. Zoning Board of Appeals, I'm going to keep at 2,000. Office equipment, just gonna stay at 500. There's not much we typically need. I dropped the fuel cost last year, if you do remember, down to 1,600 from 2,000. I'm going to increase it to 1,800 with the rise in fuel as of right now. And rent, which technically isn't rent anymore, it's building maintenance. I spoke with Brian in the highway department right now, as of 2-3 weeks ago. The zoning portion of rent for 2025 is already at $4,900, and in the budget, there's 4,300. So I brought that up to 5,200 with the increase in utilities. Meetings and seminars, those fees are getting costly, and there are more that we can attend, so I brought that up to 2,000. So right there, that is, a total of, with Nicole's extra 2%, 132,729. Like I told Mr. Frick, I said, we do have the trust fund for backup if a computer goes kaput and it's over $500. I like to keep our budget minimal because I do know there are other departments that need.
I don't need to approve this tonight. We can come back next month and do that, but I would suggest taking a look at it, or if you have questions, please take that up with Beth at any time.
I will be out of the office Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and Friday this week, but I'll be back in next week.
I never hesitate to call Beth if I have a question.
And I appreciate that. It's very nice. I like the county board members reaching out.
Any questions right now?
No, not this month.
So with that, we have item 9.3. Come and talk to us about trails.
Yeah. I'm passing out with just a little bit of information. I'm gonna be covering the information, but everybody's more than equipped to read this while I'm doing this. So I want to thank, thank you. I want to thank Dale for helping to arrange this, to bring me in. Thanks.
Very
Dale.
further on, I think we can do that. Make that having more interest in.
Thank you. Dale, I'm not giving you one because it's the same thing as you've
Yep,
already
I've
seen.
already
on
seen
the
it.
trail.
I've already.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. Dale, I have an extra one, so I'll. As I said, my name is John Zimmer. I'm starting a business called Trailblazers. It is a business that rents and sells e-bikes. Is everybody familiar with what an e-bike is? Okay. What we're looking at doing is trying to do this in a little bit of a different manner. And the different manner that we're taking, or the different approach that we're taking, is maybe not your typical retail type of an approach. We're taking this with a mobile SUV. And we also have a antiques barn that we call the Horse Creek Barntique. But part of it is going to include e-bikes in it as well. So it will have an area that it will be for retail. But when it comes to the actual mobility part of it, I would like to be looking at the trails and a place where I can actually set up at the trails, I'm looking at, obviously the Pecatonica Prairie Trail as well as the Jane Addams Trail. And to take advantage of the areas, what we call trailheads at each of those areas, to where I can promote not only the trails, but also promote the business, promote safe use of the trails, start to make people understand the use of e-bikes and how they can and cannot be used on a trail. And I think that some of this might actually require just exactly that, because otherwise everybody's gonna be finding out as we're all getting cited for going too fast, or this bike shouldn't be there. We've all been there or have heard the stories. So I'm trying to do this proactively to be sure that I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's, and being sure that I speak with the right people. The people that I have spoken with has been in Orangeville. I mentioned I met with the Dale and the Jane Addams Trail Committee, and also here. And so the ideal areas that I'm looking to fulfill is to be able to gain that access into an area that right now isn't really being used by anybody. And if we look at the Orangeville area, for example, if anybody's been out there where the trailhead is, and for those that don't know, the Jane Addams Trail connects to the Badger State Trail, which I'm much more familiar with because I come from Wisconsin. And I know that the Badger State Trail gets a tremendous amount of use. And while the Jane Addams Trail does get a lot of use, in fact, I only live about 1 mile from the trail. Every single day I walk to the trail and back. And some evenings I'm able to go out and go biking on the trail. So I'm familiar with the volume, and I think there's a large area of an increase that the trail could see. And it really just needs a little bit of a promotion in a sense. And I think that my business can do that, maybe a little more even than some of the bike stores possibly. I don't know. I haven't spoken with those owners, but what I do see on the trail is a mix that's becoming a higher percentage of e-bikes versus just typical bicycles, for all the reasons of everybody that's in this room. We're all getting older. It's not as easy as it used to be. But one thing is for sure, and the one thing we all have in common is it is freaking fun having an e-bike. And it's genuinely a good time. There's no way you're going to do an e-bike and not smile from this year to this year. It's impossible. So as people become more familiar with it and know that it's available, it's going to be important that we have somebody out there that's helping to regulate those things, and also somebody that can help to communicate to other boards of here's what's going on, somebody that's dedicated to those trails. From a time perspective, I'm looking at 1 or 2 days per week on each of those trails, but I'll also be working out of my retail store, which is our barn that is on our own property. So, and I do have questions at the end about that as well. Time-wise, I'm looking at probably in the next 30 days, 45 days at the most before I start. I've already gotten my sales permits just this week. So both for Wisconsin as well as for Illinois. So I'm golden for doing what I need to do, although there might be a few more things, and those are part of my questions. I just want to be sure that I'm presenting this to people who are already aware of the trails, aware of the situations of I think we all kind of know what we need to do to help bring community together. And I think this is one of those things that can rally the community and everybody have fun while they're doing it too. So the questions that I have that revolve around this are, believe it or not, well researched by myself, many hours into this, and I haven't gotten as far as I would have liked to, and I'm not sure why exactly that is, because I find it hard to believe of the answers that I received. So I'm going to ask these as questions. Do I need a business license or a permit at a municipal level to have a business on an ag property?
On an ag property, is that what you asked?
It's an agricultural property, just 10 acres of farm.
This is for yourself. We're not talking about the trail.
No, we're not talking about the trail.
How's it, it's zoned ag?
Yeah.
Is it an agriculture business?
Well, I wouldn't call it T-biking, probably have a couple.
Then I would say you would, and tell me if I'm wrong, I need a special use permit for that, no?
Where is it located?
Freeport.
In
Between-
Freeport?
Between Cedarville and Orangeville, so we're as far north of Freeport as you can go.
So you're in the
Richland
unincorporated
Road.
area,
Richland Road.
Richland Road. Is there anything on the parcel right now? Is there a
Barn.
home?
Barn,
Just-
one,
Okay,
storage area,
okay.
horses.
Perfect. You would need, since it's there, I think I had talked to you about, I think he was gonna use Orangeville at one point in time and you wouldn't have needed anything. If you are going to have it in the unincorporated areas of the county and there's a home there, it would be a home occupation special use.
Okay,
That is a hearing through the zoning board of appeals. I can reach out to you tomorrow if you'd like me to.
That'd be
And give
wonderful.
you all the information, is your contact information?
Yes, it is.
On here, perfect, yes, I will reach out to you tomorrow for that. Do you have a specific address?
Yes. 2283 West Richland Road.
Okay.
Related, but different. The zoning for it, the zoning on what the property is zoned for, is that gonna be a problem? And are there any certificates of occupancy needed?
No, sir. You would get the special use to allow for a short-term rental, my apologies, for an e-bike sales and rental.
Mhm.
And that would allow you to do that out of the.
Which is what you talked about earlier, just before
Yep.
this. Okay, so it's related, like I said, but not related. Final question, equipment rental permit?
We do not have anything like that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That's it for my information, but I want to also open it up to anybody if they have any questions or anything maybe that I didn't cover that you'd like to get more information on.
How much does it cost me to rent a bike?
Bike rental will be about $25 for the first hour and probably about $20 for the second hour. We can also do a half a day, full day, weekend, whatever you're looking for. Seems pretty reasonable.
And you're gonna set up a tent just for the day.
Yeah, what I'm requesting is that I can set up, basically my SUV shows up, I got 2 bikes on the back of the SUV on a bike rack. I take off those bikes, put them underneath one of those pop-up tents, put up a couple flags, and off to the side, I'm not obstructing anybody that's walking, running, biking, or otherwise. But rather I'm there for information, catch them as they're coming on and off. Hey, how's the trail today? Would you like some information on e-bikes? Is there anything that I need to be aware of on the trail? And again, it's kind of trying to be that voice person to help bring it back to these committees because nobody's sitting on those trails bringing you the information. But I would be. So there's a little bit more to it because I'm on them all the time anyways. I hope that answers the question.
Yep, sure did. Yep.
Okay.
So this is for either one of you, Dale or you, but Trail Commission, did they have any concerns? You're primarily going to be renting to people for use on the trail, correct?
Or purchasing bikes, of course.
Sure.
Yeah. I would, the rental space likely would be designated to the Gene Adams Trail because again, you could park your car at our house, take the bike down to the trail less than a mile away and you're on the trail and go in either direction. So it seems to be that that'll likely be the way that I go. As strange as it sounds, insurance plays a pretty large role in that decision.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it plays a really big role and I've been fighting that all day. Not really fighting it, but trying to talk to insurance companies about e-bikes when all that they know about is bicycles is a pretty tough conversation to have. So in other words, I may not be able to do quite as much transportation as I would like to be doing, possibly. I don't know. I could be completely wrong too.
Sure.
Don't know yet. But it's certainly one of the concerns that sits out there. And strangely enough, it's one of the first roadblocks. There has been nothing. In fact, I'm not trying to mention for everybody at the trail, the commission.
Right.
But they were all very excited about it. Why wouldn't they be? I could be their biggest supporter of the trail, so, and I think that whether we're talking about the Pecatonica Prairie Trail or the Gene Adams Trail or any of the other trails, there's other trails too at Stephenson. We're just mentioning the bigger ones. That's, but it's definitely one of those things. If I'm going to spend an afternoon, an evening, or a day at one of the trails, I want to get return on the investment, whatever that might be. It might be renting it for next weekend. It might be buying a bike for their husband. Who knows? So did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just thinking about liability.
Yeah, as am I.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you bet. Anything else? Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Any motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
As always, next on the agenda.
You have a sheet.
All right.
Okay, can I get back to the?
Yeah. My name is Beth.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm the director of the zoning.